You get kicked out of an expo because of you were just networking and somebody else had a problem with it. So how did I get kicked out of an expo due to another doTERRA wellness advocate? Hey, it's Lance McGowan here, and today I'm going to share a little story as well as some lessons learned, because there definitely are some. Alright, so here's the situation. I was invited to the Power of Women in Business Expo in mid-May by, one of my friends here locally in Las Vegas. And so I was like, cool, it's an opportunity to network with folks, because I don't have a booth myself. Normally, at an event like that, I might have a booth with doTERRA. And you have to get that approved by doTERRA and everything else. That's a whole nother process. But I was just like, I'm just gonna go there and network with folks. That's the important thing. So I just, put on my doTERRA shirt. It has like my, the doTERRA logo on it and my name tag, and I was just there to just kind of connect with people. I talked to a number of vendors and made my way over to the doTERRA table because I saw one where I talked to a guy and had a good conversation. We talked about the oils, how to use them, our journey with doTERRA. It was a really positive experience. And then later on, while I was talking to someone else away from their booth, the wife of that guy, she's another doTERRA wellness advocate, she came up to me and basically started copping an attitude because I had my doTERRA shirt on, so she knew I was, not on her team or not with her at all. And, she had a problem that I was talking to other people. Even though they were the vendors there, I was talking to them. And I don't mention anything about the essential oils unless people bring it up. And she said she paid money to be there, and I didn't get approval from doTERRA to be there. And I wasn't there as a vendor, so that's totally different. I was just going there to network, and I just had my, my information on. And so that was different. She then said, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the host, or I'm gonna go to the organizer and tell her what happened. And then so she basically kind of tattled on me to the organizer at the event. And we were talking it out, and she was just really like up in arms about everything. I was trying to be calm, and I was asked to leave, even though I said, I'm just networking with folks. And she was like, well, she paid to be here. And then when she ended up, the woman, the doTERRA wellness advocate, left, she was like, look, I'm kind of running a business. I'm trying to keep my vendors happy. She did pay to be here. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And, I was kind of taken aback by the whole situation because it was just kind of a weird situation. Like, I had good intentions. I wasn't talking to any of her prospects. I was talking to other vendors, which she wasn't talking to. And so it was just kind of like we weren't even crossing paths. And, I did mention while we were kind of in that three-way conversation with the organizer, the other doTERRA wellness advocate, and myself, and while all three of us were talking, I mentioned the concept of, having a limited mindset means that you want others to basically get away from you whenever maybe you're perceiving an attack of some sorts. And that doesn't make sense because we should have an abundance mentality, because the prospects still have to know, like, and trust the person, product, and company before they even purchase anything, and that's done through developing a relationship with them over time. And it's all about having an abundance mentality, not a limited mindset. And so I mentioned that, but it fell on deaf ears. And on my way out, I just was like, well, let me talk to my friend, because he's over here at the Legal Shield area, and he's well-established networker in Las Vegas. And I talked to him, and I told him, I was like, man, I'm kind of shook right now. I was asked to leave because another doTERRA wellness advocate basically tattled on me and wants me kicked out because they're, I'm encroaching on their territory, so to speak. And, I left, I didn't cause any stink. And if I'm honest, I kind of got a little, I was in my feelings a little bit, because I was like, man, this is messed up. I'm getting kicked out for just attending and talking to people. I tried to practice a little bit of what I've learned, and that is, emotional intelligence of, number one, what am I feeling? So I was like, all right, I feel shook. I feel disappointed. I feel a little, angry, a little anxious. There's a lot of emotions kind of going on. And then I was like, well, why do I feel that way? I was like, well, that's pretty easy. I was asked to leave an event that I, showed up to, drove 20 minutes to get to, and was asked to leave simply because somebody else had a problem with me, even though I wasn't causing any issues. And Simon Sinek talks about this. Like, he uses an analogy when he was waiting for donuts or bagels at an event, and there was a long line, and so he went around to the line up front and just snuck his hand through and got something. And the principle was, you can get what you want as long as you don't prevent somebody from getting what they want. And at that event I was at, I wasn't preventing her from talking to people. I wasn't even talking to the people that she was talking to, but she had a problem because I was there and I was networking, and she had a limited mindset. And the interesting thing is, there was another event in Las Vegas where it was the Healthy Habits Tour. and I saw her there during the business training. I didn't say anything, and I didn't have any ill will or negative feelings towards her. I was just like, you know what? It's cool, people are not going to like or agree with me. I see a lot of that more online, but in person it shows up too. And people have insecurities, people have fears, people have things that they don't know how to communicate well. And when there's conflict, they resort to things like that. And it's just like, I think that was uncalled for. Like, she literally stepped away from her vendor booth just to confront me and cop an attitude when she could have been just waiting there, helping other people. And, I was probably going to leave anyway, probably in the next 15, 20 minutes after that, because, after I make my way around the vendor booths, it's pretty much done. And I mean, she paid at least $300 or $400 to be there, so I get that aspect. But at the same time, I wasn't talking to the people she was. I was talking to the vendors who she wasn't talking to, because that's what I was doing. Like, I'm not talking to like random people. So yeah, it was an interesting experience that I wanted to share with you, because I think what I learned was, people are going to, not always like or agree with what you do. And it's weird, because now whenever I go in public to a networking event, I'm like, should I wear my doTERRA shirt or not? It's just like, oh my goodness, like, networking event, yes, but if there's vendor booths, I'm like, oh my goodness, let me just go, whatever you call it, ninja mode, and not wear any logoing, so people don't have a problem if they've paid to be there, because then they'll think, oh, look at him, he's encroaching on my territory type of thing. And it's just like, that, no, like, like, are you, like, is she had a booth, was she out there talking to everybody? No, because she wasn't, because she was at her booth, so she's not able to talk to the other vendors. So that's the main issue I have. But anyways, that's it for today's story. Hopefully, you learn to have an abundance mentality yourself. I know I certainly do. I know, some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. That's one principle I use a lot. And another principle I use is, move towards people that move towards you. And if they don't, talk to the next person. And so I combine those principles, or maybe it's just these principles together, and it helps my mindset and my stress levels go down. And it's great. And I use it in situations like this. And whenever, I feel like I'm getting confronted with something that is a little bit more unjust or unfair, I'm just like, whatever, I'll just go work out, which I did. I ended up working out the next day or the day after, and that helps with the physical stress. And then I journal about it, or do some video therapy like this, and it's cool. A couple weeks later, when emotions are settled, and I can just kind of talk to you guys, and just kind of let process everything. I think that's important, not to just take the emotions or feelings out on others. And there's a saying, we shouldn't make rash decisions with our emotions. We should learn from our emotions to make more wise decisions. So there's kind of a difference there, in that we're not just impulsively doing something based on our emotions, but we're learning from them instead, and then choosing a better route. And I think that's the best learning lesson that I can apply to all of this, and it's something that I chose through video format, but also thinking about it, praying about it, a lot of different things, because it is what it is. That's life. There's ups and downs, and there's times where you get kicked out of an expo because of you were just networking and somebody else had a problem with it. So thanks again for watching, and yeah, hit the like button if you did, share this video with somebody that would benefit from it, and most importantly, check out the links in the description below so you can continue to get your learn on, and I'll see you in the next video.